Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today we are reviewing part 3 of Mary, Queen of Sorrow by Alison Weir. It all happens very fast. The people rally to Mary's call, and without her having to do very much, she is proclaimed queen, and she deserves it. I am happy for her. But this situation is all due to her brother's death, which means it is tinged with sadness for her, and this is something I wasn't expecting. It adds an extra layer of depth to her, and I really thought she would be triumphant at being able to restore the Catholic faith. Mary's meeting with Elizabeth on the way to London was so tender and sentimental, but Mary simply now sees too much of Anne Boleyn in her half-sister, and quickly cools towards Elizabeth. This cooling is fanned into suspicion by the new, good-looking Spanish ambassador, Renard, when Elizabeth won't attend Mass. Renard is using Mary's crush on him to his own ends and the progression of Spain's influence in England, and I hate him for it. There is no thought really given here to Jane Grey, and I was expecting Mary to be thinking about her a lot, but she really doesn't. All she keeps saying is that she won't execute Jane. Mary's coronation was not as elaborate as I thought it would be, but it was still a good read. Renard twisting his grudge up against Elizabeth on the run-up to the coronation was great, and then him making sure Mary knew that Elizabeth complained that her coronet was too heavy during the coronation was very manipulative. Good old courtier backbiting. Where would historical fiction be without it? There is, of course, the Wyatt and Courtenay rebellion, but I wasn't expecting much out of this plot. It was badly organised with no real objective, so I wasn't disappointed when reading it. Mary's speech in London was very moving when she won over the citizens, but I can't help wishing she was this decisive all the time. If she was this tough and strong, 24/7, history would be a very different place. The rebellion is squashed easily, and Jane Grey and Guilford Dudley are executed, and I was really hoping for Mary to be on the horns of indecision, but there really is no thought for Jane. There is no mention of Jane Grey's last-minute medical examination to try and save her by proving she is pregnant. The whole thing just seems downplayed, like Mary is giving no thought to this 16-year-old girl who is about to lose her life. Mary herself was in a similar situation not that long ago. Elizabeth's supposed treason drags on and on in the background of this book and is not as exciting as I hoped it would be, but the scene that is recounted to Mary of Elizabeth crying on the tower stairs was very good. Renard's hatred of Elizabeth is palpable, and I'm so surprised Mary doesn't see it, because his venom jumps right off the page. I highly dislike the man. Then Mary is married to the cold fish that is Philip of Spain, and my God, Mary looks for affection in every small tiny detail that he does. He shows her absolutely no affection, but he isn't cruel or unkind. He is completely delighted when Mary announces her pregnancy. I was hoping for a couple of juicy sex scenes between Mary and Philip, and I felt a tad let down when I compare this book to some of Alison Weir's other books. I don't want anything over the top, but I do want a little bit more than what was given to us in this book. As Mary's pregnancy progresses, Philip starts pushing for Elizabeth to be recognised as the legal heir, and Mary is very hurt by this because she sees clearly that Philip is making plans in case she dies in childbed, and Mary is simply jealous of Elizabeth's youth and popularity because now Mary is actually quite disliked by the general public because she has started burning heretics. As Mary enters her confinement, I lost interest in the book because I know it is all downhill from here, and the poor woman deserves some sort of real happiness. Mary's pain at not knowing why her stomach is deflating and labour hasn't started was hard to read, and Philip is so cruel to Mary about all of this, blaming her for not knowing what is going on with her body. But her pain only serves to make her more devout and more intense when it comes to rooting out heresy and burning heretics alive, because this will help her people. When Philip leaves Mary, she becomes pathetic, begging him to return home. It's not nice reading, because this woman is throwing herself repeatedly at a man and getting rejected. Who wants to read about that? The only way Philip will agree to return to Mary is if she enters his war, and against all her counselors' advice, she does it. When Philip returns, it's only for long enough to get her pregnant again, she believes, and harangue her about getting Elizabeth married to one of his allies. Mary is desperately lonely, though surrounded by people. These last few pages took me ages to want to read, because Mary is ultimately so pathetic at this point in her life. It's sad to know that she dies surrounded by people, not connected to anyone, praying to God for a child that will never come, and signing warrants to have people burned alive on her deathbed, knowing in her heart that Elizabeth will make the country Protestant and undo what she sees as all her good work. I give this book 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the first 3/4 of it, but once Mary married Philip, it was all downhill for her personally, mentally, and for her reign. Goodread gives Mary Queen of Sorrow 4 out of 5, and I think this is probably a quite good depiction of her life in general, with the highs and the lows and the tragic end all mapped out. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, because I have tons of historical fiction content, as well as a full playlist of Alison Weir book reviews. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lady Jessica Riddell, and until next time, don't burn any heretics alive. Bye!